All right, y'all. Going live for a little bit. Going live for a little bit now. Okay. Maybe just be on here for like a couple minutes. Well, not a couple minutes, but like a few minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Want to just go back and talk about last night a little bit. Of course, I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow, but it's just been on my mind, man. These two title fights last night. It's really been on my mind because got up, took care of some business, and it just kept running through my mind because I was doing other stuff. I said, man, I want to go back and talk about these fights, man. I want to talk about the performances of Taneisha Tennant and Emily Ducote, man, because Emily Ducote, man, her knockout might be a knockout of the year for WMMA, right? I think Emily Ducote's knockout might be KO of the year so far. I mean, that's on my list now. For KO of the year for WMMA in general. You know, that and the Ruiz fight. But the Ruiz fight didn't have as heavy significance for Mandalay Lemos Ruiz. This fight here was a title fight, so I got to rate it up there high. You know, so yeah, man, welcome back, y'all. Got a few of y'all in here. What's going on, Mark, Robert Henry? Yeah, tonight or real quick, I just want to discuss the title fights real quick and give y'all my post fight thoughts because I was up late, just covering the title fights with y'all. I was up till after midnight, right? And it was a good card. I will say that first off. Very good card. Shout out to you know, Shannon Knapp, everybody with Invicta, matchmakers. They did a good job on putting this card together. And we definitely were entertained. Good fights, but like I said, that Emily Ducote was a way to cap it off, man. That was a way to cap it off. But let's talk about Taneisha Tennant though. Taneisha Tennant, again, shout out to the new bantamweight champion. She just once again proved to you guys what I'll be talking about when I'm talking about a very, very highly skilled fighter, very technical fighter. Make sure y'all hit the like button too. Um, great, great range, great distance management, solid jab. And y'all heard me, man. I was like, look, Tanisha got to get the jab going in the first round. As soon as she gets it going, everything else will fall in play. What happened when she got that jab going? Knockout, knockout opportunities came, body kicks came, leg kicks came. Everything was coming, right? And that's really what I wanted to talk about with the Tanisha Tennant performance last night. It was just a thing of beauty when it came to technique and skill. Because Lisa Frazosa, she's a tough, competitive fighter. She's a gung ho fighter, likes to come straight in there and draw you into a firefight. But Tanisha wasn't that type of fighter. That's why I knew from the jump that this was not going to be some type of back and forth action match. This wasn't going to be that type of fight of the night where everybody's coming out with stitches and lumps on top of lumps. Somebody was going to come out clean, and I knew it was going to be Tennant because she was just going to go in there, execute a good game plan, and she said that was it. She was prepared for 5 rounds. Every time she dropped or hurt for Souza, it was like we ain't going to get too crazy. We know we're not going to get too wild. We're not going to win ourselves out going for a knockout. We're going to just take her apart, and that was the performance she put on. Great performance. Yeah, Mark Robertson, possible KO of the year. Yeah, Mr. Lee said which one, the first KO or the second? The the first KO with first round KO Emily Ducote, the main event, the main event. Yeah, Invictus has some great knockouts in recent. Yeah, 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 they do. Yeah, two beats. I watched everything, man. I watched that whole card, man. I watched the prelims. I watched, the pay per view card. I watched everything. I covered everything. So yeah, man. I enjoyed it overall. Going back to Tanisha Tennant, what looked like was going to be a chess match for Zoza, like she wanted to strike and pick her shots with Tanisha. It just wasn't happening because Tanisha was just one step ahead. She was just trying to feel her out, get her leg kicks going and draw in Forzosa. You know, she was drawing Lisa Forzosa in, and Forzosa got a little bit restless. You know, she was like, "Look, it's time. You know, I got to get something going." So as soon as she started stepping in, and Taneisha switched to southpaw in that first round, she started cracking her. You know, she was hitting her with some great shots, and man, I thought it was about to be a knockout. Man, I think that could have been a knockout, but that I don't know, man. What do y'all think? That saved by was that saved by the bell or was she out? Because when she ate that right hand and she ate a left hand and then she ate another right hand and she just like went down like she squatted, her knees didn't touch, but she like fell back. I thought it was done. And then she ate another shot, but you know the referee was like, "Oh, that's it." I mean, it didn't look like Souza would have argued if he had stopped it right there. In my opinion, that could have been a first round knockout right there. You know, for real. But you know, the fight went on. Taneisha just settled in, put together her jab, put together her punches, and just fought off a great jab. You know, let's fought off the jab, man. Just constantly put in the jab in her face. Even when the jab wasn't touching, it opened up body kicks, leg kicks. You can see like the left side of Versosa's body. I think that was starting to bother her a little bit because she kept getting those roundhouse kicks there and side kicks to the body. So you know she started dropping her left elbow, and when you dropping her hand, you know that's where the jab came in. The right hand, clean right hands. She was just shoving down the pipe on Versosa. So man, like it was just an overall good performance. Like I could not give Versosa a single round. I think one judge gave the first round or the second round to Versosa. I think he did. Yeah, one judge did because across the board it was what 50-46, right? 50-40, let's see, 50-45, right? Yeah, 9 times five. Yeah, 50-45 across the board except for the one judge. So I just thought that was crazy. I couldn't give her a single round though. I couldn't, you know. But Taneisha handled this fight well. She didn't, like I said, she didn't get drawn into a firefight. She executed a good game plan, and off of what I've seen, I think that her striking is better than anybody in Invicta FC, and I think it can be better than anybody in the bantamweight division in, in the UFC. Like I'm not saying it is now, but it can be. As long as she keeps working, I think that she can be better. And that's, you know, that's talking about putting her up against fighters like GDR at some point too. You know, as far as like striking ability, I know GDR is one of the top level strikers out there, but you know, I think that she can reach that level. You know, GDR is still one of the best to me, probably the best striker in the UFC bantamweight division. And then somebody like Irene Aldana. But even then, I think that Taneisha can box and overall like mix it up better than Irene Aldana a little bit. And I think Tanisha's footwork is I think it's a little bit more educated than Irene Aldana. And I think her angles and her defense is there. Like you might not say it's not much, but you can see how she'll just like step to the side, just so subtle and make you miss a punch like she was doing to Lisa Ferzosa. You know, she just take a little step to the left and make your punch just kind of graze across her shoulder, you know. So she's being slick in there. You know, she's doing some nice slick moves in there that, you know, her and her trainers at Budokan have been working on. So, you know, I think that yeah, striking hands down, stand up game better than anybody in Invicta FC right now. But I think that she has the ability to get above somebody like Irene Aldana in the UFC. You know, Irene Aldana, I think she's a little bit more committed to a left hook. But what I've seen from Taneisha, the switching angles, the jab, you know, I just saw some great work from her there. And people can't deny the win. They, you know, they can't say, oh, like was she was just too, you know, too good for her. Lisa Versosa was nothing. No, Lisa Versosa has more fights on the record, and people were thinking this was a 50-50 fight. You know, I knew it wasn't. You know, I knew it wasn't because I knew that Taneisha had the IQ to handle business. BJ said, great job, Taneisha. Yeah. My opinion on Natalie how do you pronounce it? Is it Salido? Salcido? Natalie Salcido. Man, she's good, man. That performance Natalie Salcido put on man, I was really impressed with her jujitsu. And y'all know she's like a 5-time Muay Thai champion as well, right? That girl came from Muay Thai. So without even executing Muay Thai and her stand up in that fight, I will say Natalie is going to be a force because Natalie was on the ground she was grappling like a mug, man. So Natalie, man, she was putting it together. I mean, her fluidity on the ground was just like, man, like I couldn't believe she was just doing some of the things she was doing. I'm gonna go back and talk about that fight, of course, because that was a good one. Cedric C, he said he think Irene is levels above her. I don't think she's too far above her. Like right now, she is just because she's in the UFC, but I still think that stand up, the mix up of Taneisha Tennant, it's gonna reach that and it'll get higher. You know, of course she is right now, but I think she can get there. I think she can get there quick. Mark said Tennant has great techniques, but I have to wonder how much better she could be with some more power in her shots. I don't really think power is gonna make you better. It's not about it making you better, in my opinion. Like I think it comes down to precision and accuracy. It's not about power. Because people think Rose Namajunas is powerful, but no, it's the fact that she's turning her punches over and she's extending them and she's accurate. Because how many people have Rose Namajunas knocked out with their hands? One. The day she started working on her boxing and turning up her accuracy, that's where it started falling in the line. You know, so I think Taneisha, it's not a fact of her power. I mean, she was still cracking. She could have stopped this girl, but she's just tough. She's just tough in there. So I don't think the power would make her better. It would make her more exciting. It would definitely make her more exciting for sure. Definitely make her exciting. But power is not going to be, decide how good she can be. I mean, it might put like a little bit of intimidation on her opponents, but other than that, I think it's just going to come down to her commitment to her jab, her, of course, accuracy, like I said, and her punch selection, her punch variety. Emily Ducote, yeah, yeah, accuracy, man, accuracy and timing, man, yeah. Emily Ducote, her shot was on point, man. Wow, wow. But yeah. So with Taneisha Tennant right now, like I was talking to y'all last night, I think maybe one or two title defenses, or who knows, stick around. Maybe just stick around, beat all their bantamweights. Just stay active at this point. Now that you got the belt, go for a little Invicta FC record. Defend that belt 3 or 4 times, and make Dana White kind of salivate about what he missed out on. Make him kind of kick himself about what he missed out on. But at the same time, you never know. Like signing premature could be a bust, but with the work she's putting in now, she won't do like some of the other fighters where they sign to the UFC, then they get cut and go back to Invicta. You know what I mean? Like, which is something I'll talk about tomorrow. I'll go more into. But Taneisha Tennant right now, she should put herself in a position where she doesn't have to backtrack like all these other UFC fighters had to. Like the Lauren Muellers and the Jody Escobels. You want to move forward. So stay in Invicta as long as you need to. Stay in Invicta as long as you need to and build your craft so you won't wind up in a situation where you go on a 3-4 fight losing streak and then you have to backtrack to Invicta. Angela Hill, Danielle Taylor herself, fighters like that where they had to go back. You just want to go forward. You want to move forward. Um, and if Taneisha wants to be on those levels of like the GDRs and the uh, Amanda Nunes eventually, you want to hit that top level. Fighters like that, they're never going to backtrack. Their skill sets is, pretty much set in stone and they get better and better where they're never going to go back. Skill set and just the fact they're really, really good fighters. So I think that would be a good plan to defend the belt a few times. I know after the fight, she said she's going on a little vacation for 2 weeks and then it's right back at it. So, that's really nothing. Like, she just taking 2 weeks off and she going right back to the fight game, right? So maybe we'll see her on the next Invicta card, or maybe we'll see her on the one after that. But I think that, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Definitely wouldn't be a bad idea. And we're long overdue, right? Pretty much long overdue because she won the tournament, what, 2 years ago? She won that tournament 2 years ago, and still, like, it just took forever. It seemed like it was taking forever for her to either get signed by the UFC or get a title shot. They finally gave it to her. But this fight is a good example of that's the best word I can put it. Like, the performance that Taneisha put on was a good clinic on um just fighting behind the jab. Fighting behind your jab. I think she did an excellent job of doing that, and that's something that I think a lot of stand-up fighters need to look at. Um, Fighters that are grappler based and wrestling based, they need to look at how it's done with the jab watching this fight. I'm talking about even UFC fighters. Some of these UFC fighters, they don't even have the stand up of some of these Invicta fighters. I'm talking about even like your Jillian Robertsons, your Montana De La Rosas, and so on. These are the fighters that need to see this is how you execute and fight behind the jab. You know, because I think Taneisha probably could have got some takedowns off of her stand up in this fight. She was actually controlling off of her back on the fence, spinning and being able to break from Lisa Frazosa just by kind of tossing her, and got her down a couple of times, just to separate. But I don't, I think that yeah, yeah, definitely maybe like a film study fight in the future for this one, definitely, because every round she used that jab, it just got better and better for her. Everything just got better and better, man. So I'm always telling y'all, jab is the key, man, for sure. So yeah, shout out to the Taneisha, defend that belt, hold on to it, and then just make Dana White beg, make him beg, because right now he definitely needs some more bantamweights, but make him beg though. But let's see, Emily Ducote, man, wow, new strawweight Invicta FC champion, Emily Ducote. I've been saying this since last year, about 2 years ago, though. I was like, man, Emily Ducote deserves a title shot. At the time, I was like, Emily Ducote deserves a title shot. I was like, she's been around for a minute, and she's kind of getting dealt some close decisions here. I thought that they'd eventually let her fight for the title, which she was. She was going to last year against Montserrat Ruiz. She was scheduled to fight Montserrat Ruiz, but yeah, y'all know the pandemic hit in November 2020. Fight didn't go down, and that was a fight. I was like matchmaking for. I was like, yo, this is the fight y'all need to put together. Ruiz, Ducote for the title. For the title. But I would have picked Ducote in that fight too. I definitely would have picked Emily Ducote in that fight. I think she has has more tools to execute and nullify whatever Emily Ducote was going to bring to the table. That's why I was like, yo, this might be her chance to win the title. Not joking either. I think she had beat Kanako Murata too when I went back and watched that fight. So, but anyways, this fight here though, I thought it was going to be her toughest, man. Really, like if she had fought Ruiz, I think she would have won the belt easy. That's how I was thinking at the time. But when I saw this fight, I was like, this is going to be a little bit harder here. I can't help but lean towards Danielle Taylor in this fight. I thought Danielle Taylor had the strength, had the chin. I thought she had the chin, and I thought she would have had the takedown defense too. Even the ability to fight on the inside. But man, it all just came down to timing. Like right from the first round, like Emily Ducote she was all eyes, man. She was just like her eyes was just like she was strictly tunnel vision on every movement Danielle Taylor was making. That's what was crazy about this fight. Like you could see like when Danielle Taylor would try to step in, Ducote was ready to react. She was ready to counterpunch. And she was catching Danielle Taylor. Like Danielle Taylor was having a tough time getting on the inside. She was really having a tough time getting on the inside. And Ducote was just keeping that one step ahead and putting that effective pressure on her, man. Like I could see it in her face, like she really wanted this fight. She really wanted, well, I won't say she wanted to fight, she wanted to win. Let me put it that way. She really, really was focused on just beating this girl to the punch and keeping the timing. That's how you beat speed, man. You have to beat speed with timing. I think Danielle Taylor, when she tasted a couple of the shots the first time, she had to kind of adjust and was trying to think of a way to get in. And that's why I was saying last night as we were watching the fight, I said Danielle Taylor needs to be a little bit more aggressive here, like to Tisha Torres. You know, she has to keep Emily Ducote's feet offset. She gave Emily Ducote too much respect where her feet were planted. So everything she throws is gonna hurt, basically. You know, everything she throws is gonna be, a shot with bad intentions. And y'all saw it. You saw it right there, man. She baited Danielle Taylor in. Danielle Taylor had the left hand down, and as she stepped right into her range, she turned that right hand over, and I was like, damn, right on the chin, man. It didn't even it was at first it didn't even look like this hard shot, but man, when that shot just touched her chin, she was asleep, man. Like she was asleep on her feet. She was asleep. I've never seen her like that before. I said last night she's been stopped before, like, pre UFC. Um, but this was like a first, man. Like that's how beautiful that shot was. Perfect right hand, and she was asleep on her feet. I mean, slouched over, eyes, just gone. The ref, he could have stepped in right there. Like if he would have let it in right there, that just would have been a beautiful shot. But Emily Ducote, she capped it off with the head kick, and when the head kick landed, that was basically just like the push down. That was basically just the cherry on top. But man, when that right hand landed, that was just like a beautiful shot. Like I would have land, just say I land the shot, just take a step back and just let it go from there, because that would have been like the first standing knockout, like just first standing knockout, just in the center of the octagon where the person's not even buzzed on wobbly legs, but she was just asleep. You know what I mean? That was crazy, man. That was crazy. Zhang Wei Li didn't even like land a big shot like that. Like I was telling y'all, Zhang Wei Li got her chin touched by Danielle Taylor, but even Zhang Wei Li didn't have Danielle Taylor out like that, or near out. So yeah, man. It all just came down to timing, man. Just perfect timing. Um, and I think that's something that Emily Ducote, they've been working on. Not just in this fight, but they were using this. They were using a similar game plan on Kanako Murata a little bit. Like Kanako Murata, her being, a shorter fighter, in and out fighter, she was having trouble with Emily Ducote's focus pressure. You know what I mean? Like she was really having trouble with that pressure, the same way. And Danielle Taylor, same thing. Shorter fighters like that, they have to dictate the pace, man. They got to be on the inside. You can't stay on the outside like that. Like Danielle Taylor gets into a groove of fighting on the outside too much, and it cost her big time. But yeah, shout out to Emily Ducote, new strawweight champion. Um, Now for Emily Ducote, since she's been around so long, she's one that I don't know. Like, what do y'all think? I think Emily Ducote could take off. I think she could take off because she's been around. And let me look up her age real quick, because she might fall in. She might fall in line nicely with the UFC strawweight. Well, yeah, she's 27. Okay, she's still young. I always think of Emily Ducote is older because been seeing her for so long. She's 10-6 now, and she's fought for Bellator for how long has she fought for Bellator? She fought with Bellator for like 2 years. She had a lot of fights in Bellator. She's fought Alima McFarlane like 2 times. Uh, Vito Arteaga, who she lost to though. So at 27, there's time. There's time. I don't know. There might be some time. Take on a couple more of their straw weights. Take on a couple more Invicta FC straw weights. But I know that Dana White, he probably saw that he's gonna try to call her up. But I will say this: Emily Ducote and Taneisha Tennant, they are not contender series material. They are fighters you sign. What do y'all think? I mean, for me, for sure, uh, they're fighters you just sign. You don't put them in the contender series. You just sign them. Especially with what happened this. I mean, the first time around for Tanisha, they did that, but this time, no. You need to just go ahead and sign both of them, right? Hmm. See here, what y'all talking about? Hold on. Robert Henry said I can see both Tanisha making multiple title defenses, but I see Tennant has the fundamentals it takes to hold on to the belt longer. But if Emily keeps fighting like this, she's hard to beat. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Ain't that fight tomorrow or something? Like, yeah, that fight is Sunday or that spectacle. Uh, to be said, fighters aspire to be the best fighter in the eyes of fans that never went to the UFC. Right. He said, I wish more fighters could take what I call the Kenny Omega approach. He essentially said, at one point, he'd rather be known as the greatest wrestler who willingly never went to to I know what you mean, to the next level like WWE. Yeah, there's a couple fighters like that. Some of those pioneers of WMMA. Like Vanessa Porto at a point. She was one of those the best fighters never signed. Uh, and then there's just fighters that he just avoids signing. Like I don't know what the deal is. So, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I agree with Robert though. I think Tanisha's definitely got better fundamentals where she would keep her belt longer. Um, the thing with Emily Ducote is I think she's getting better and better, but there can be some close fights with her. There can be some close fights where, much like Kanaka Murata, there's fights where she kind of doesn't step out of the box, and that kind of costs her. Even back in Bellator, there was some close calls in that Alima Lay McFarland fight. I think the first time they fought, it was close. And that fight was very close. So yeah, I know what you mean. There could be moments where the belt could slide out of her hands just because of a close contested fight. I could see that. I could see that. But I think Tanisha has enough in her skills and her technique to keep her belt. Whoever they bring to her at 135, what I mean. Yeah, there was another fight that I was watching with trying to remember. Yeah, I seen a few Bellator fights with her, man. Very close. She's tough though. Mm, 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 Yeah, I don't think Dana White would try to pass on this opportunity now, like, because I think he's done worse just by signing, fighters that aren't ready. So me personally, yeah, like I would like to see her do a little something, but I could see him after seeing this fight and knocking Danielle Taylor out, him trying to sign her though. I could see that. And at 27, like I said, there's no rush though. 27, definitely no rush for her to just go ahead and say, okay, let me jump into the UFC. I could take this time and build off of a belt because this is good too. Because when you have a belt in this organization, this is a good time to fight on that champion level where it's not about getting the belt but defending it. And I would like to see her kind of break that ice and get comfortable with having a belt and having to prepare for it, a title defense instead of the title opportunity because there's a big difference between both. Winning the belt is a different type of hunger, but keeping the belt, that's like another. It's almost like another realm for some fighters. Some fighters they get comfortable, and I would like to see if Emily Ducote can fight in that defense mode. Like now I'm defending the belt. Now I got to keep it. Do I want to keep it? So yeah, man. What else? What else did y'all? What else? What else did y'all see in that card that y'all liked last night? Like prelims, I enjoyed. I did enjoy the prelims. They brought some good fights. I was surprised to see Lauren Mueller fighting at 135, though, man. She just didn't look like she was 135. She should have been at least maybe 125, but Lauren Mueller still looked like a strawweight in there against De Jesus. De Jesus just looked too big for her. I mean, she was controlling her, man. I couldn't believe that fight was a split decision, too. I had Serena De Jesus winning that fight. Yeah, man. Mm, 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 mm. Gary Balder said Ducote was in their flyweight division, though. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. They don't have a strawweight division in Bellator. She was fighting Alima Lay McFarlane, Vita Arteaga. They're all flyweights. So, yeah. They're not the biggest flyweights, but yeah, yeah. She was at flyweight in Bellator. Ugh. So that's pretty much what I could see them two doing right now. Taneisha Tennant defending her belt, um, just kind of building up her craft right now. Build up the craft to the point, nobody can touch it on the lower level of the UFC. Build it up enough so when they put you in there with an unranked fighter, you can blast out the unranked fighter like Manon Firo did. Manon Firo, she's been building her skill sets and, her technique at 30, 31 right now. I think she's kind of much more cool, calm, and collected than some of these 20 somethings. Tanisha also 30, like in her early 30s. I think she's at that point too where, she can just kind of get comfortable on this lower level and get her skills to where they need to be. So when you first jump into the UFC, you can just handle these unranked fighters in the top 11 through 15 easy. Then by the time when you get to the top 15, you'll be a little bit more comfortable every time. That's why I say like, maybe 2, 3 defenses, stick around with Invicta for a little bit, then jump in there, you fight somebody maybe still in the lower level like a Panny Kanzan or Julie Avila. By then, your skills is on point and you making fights one sided. So people are saying, "Oh man, you ain't fighting nobody." Well, your skills are just that on point. So that's how I think about Manon Firo. I'm not saying Manon Firo is the best, but I think her skills are untouchable for the level she's on. So each time you just got to test them. So by the time she gets to the top 15, she'll be wiping some of these older flyweights out. And I think that Tanisha can do the same thing. With a division that needs life in it, she'll bring life. She'll bring some new blood into it. Yeah, yeah. The UFC's card is starting now, y'all. So I'm about to get out of here. I just wanted to go ahead and jump on here, give y'all my post fight thoughts real quick. Um, yeah, I just wanted to jump on here about half an hour. I was just waiting for the card to start. But yeah, guys, make sure y'all subscribe. I'm gonna check out this JJ Aldrich fight and Vanessa Demopoulos fight. Who do y'all got? Quick pick. Y'all know who I got. I'm gonna ride with. I like Vanessa Demopoulos, but I think I'm gonna have to kind of lean towards JJ now. All right, yeah, I'll check it out too, Beast. Yeah, I would check that out. Okay, everybody's saying they got JJ. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with JJ by striking clinic. I think her striking is just on point, man. JJ by striking clinic. because Demopolis to me is still a straw weight, and I don't know about her defense. So, yeah, JJ for me too. So yeah, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. We'll talk tomorrow. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like on your way out. Combo Breaker 99 out. Peace.